All right, and Scott went and saw The Great Gatsby. He joined us before his vacation to give his review. So, obviously, if you listen to this right now, Scott's enjoying a beach somewhere. But
Probably, hopefully.
So what is Great Gatsby about to begin with?
Great Gatsby is a story about Nick Carraway. He's recently moved to Long Island as a bond salesman. He reunites with his cousin.
Like a James Bond salesman?
No, like a stocks bond financial.
All right. I'm silly.
Yeah, he sells those DVDs back in the 20s.
Nice.
Yeah. He reunites with his cousin Daisy, who's now married to the wealthy and physically imposing Tom Buchanan. Nick learns that his next-door neighbor is a mysterious man named Jay Gatsby, who throws a weekly extravagant party at his mansion, one of which Nick is randomly invited. He attends, meets Gatsby, and becomes witness to a twisted story involving Jay and Daisy's history, Tom's mistress, and Gatsby's rise to status. Now, I'm one of those people that actually haven't read the book. Did you read it in high school?
I read it a long, I don't remember. My mother says that it's an overwritten novel.
Overwritten?
Yeah, I think just it's overly descriptive. But it's a classic.
Yeah, so. It's one I read up on a little bit before writing this review, and it's considered an American classic, and because it's a lot of literature out there is written in other countries besides America. Surprise, America! We're not the
Who knew?
But this is one that's actually written in America that's very beloved. So I went into this movie not knowing anything about the story other than what was seen in the trailers, and I was intrigued by the what I thought was a really well put together trailer.
So you wanted to see it just because of the trailer? Then you didn't really know anything.
Yeah.
I thought you actually had read it. That's why you were so excited.
I hadn't, and I'll get into it more. But it's actually making me want to read the book more to see how descriptive it is. But I was really drawn to the story. I wanted to see how it played out, and I actually enjoyed the ending quite a bit. It actually went some places that I didn't expect. Although some of that stuff is kind of been there, done that by today's standards. Yeah. But considering it was written that long ago, it seems somewhat ahead of its time in that regard. So the film itself was a little bit too long. It was easily could have cut out a half an hour.
How long is it?
It's over 2 hours.
Oh.
And especially with a director like Baz Luhrmann, who is most notably known for movies like Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet and those kind of things. He has such a flourish in his shots as well as the music that he puts into it. But the length in particular just really it lost a bit of the emotion because it was trying too hard to be artistic instead of just telling a good story.
Yeah, I guess it's almost like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
2 hours, 23 minutes. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was pretty long, and the last third of it really, really dragged on to the point that I almost started caring less about the characters. It got me at the end. Like it brought me back in with the very end. I'm like, wow, this really tied up in a really interesting way. But there was a really deep lull in that I just felt almost bored. So as far as the acting, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's become one of my favorite actors. I know he does some bad stuff and has some bad accents and that kind of thing, but this one is kind of a callback to some of his older roles, like in Titanic and Catch Me If You Can.
He's a great actor. I prefer when he doesn't do accents.
Yeah, absolutely. But Blood Diamond was awful.
It was still a good. It was still a good performance, just a bad accent. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe because I didn't think he was bad. It was distracting at times.
Most of the time. But in this one, he brings back that boyish charm that he's really good at doing. Like I like Catch Me If You Can. He was a kid in that story, and I really like that. It makes you really like him as a character immediately, even though like his intentions are pretty selfish. He's kind of going a not so nice way in what he's trying to do. But he's so much fun to watch on screen. I really enjoyed that. Tobey Maguire, I know he gets a lot of flack. I think Brian is not a big fan of his at all.
No, Brian's not. Because when he acts, he's almost legally retarded sometimes. He's so slow that you're right there.
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually liked him on screen in this movie. I thought he fit the role of the character of this guy that's just kind of a carefree, happy-go-lucky guy that's just mixed up in something. But when he does the voiceover work in this movie, it feels very plodding. Like he's just reading his script very slowly, and that was really distracting.
And Gatsby invited me to the party.
That's not far off. It's really
is it
that
the same
slow.
Narration from the trailer? Because I hated the narration in the trailer because it was so, like you said, slow and plodding and.
I wasn't as distracted by it in the trailer because I think the music that played through the entire trailer really kind of sold that trailer to me. So any slowness in the voiceover was kind of drowned out by that. This doesn't have that music all the way through it, and it felt really distracting. I mean, I sat there and felt like I was watching him, even though I couldn't visually see him. I could picture in my head him just sitting in front of a teleprompter or whatever they do in the
roll
studio.
it, Baz, roll it.
It was pretty slow, but I didn't I actually thought he did well on screen.
Okay.
Carey Mulligan, she really has yet to wow me. I've seen her in a couple of movies.
Did you see her in Drive? I loved her in Drive.
I did see Drive, and didn't she do the what's the guy in the second Wall Street movie?
Wall Street 2, Michael Douglas?
Gordon Gekko? Wasn't she Gordon Gekko's daughter?
Yeah.
And I just wasn't too impressed with her. Her acting in this movie in particular seemed very up and down, but I don't know if it's fair to blame that on her, because the character, if you know anything about the character, is very up and down, and she's conflicted about who she wants to be and who she loves and that kind of thing.
Is it more of a romantic movie, or is it more a thriller?
It's more of a romance. There's not a whole lot of action. There's not. It's basically a drama. The stuff that Nick's character gets involved in is Gatsby is obsessed with this girl that he had a chance with a long time ago and is trying to win her back, basically. And it's told in an interesting way, because Nick is basically seeing it. He's only involved there because he has a connection to the girl who's his cousin, and so it's like him telling the story, even though he's not actually involved in it, which I thought was actually kind of interesting.
I get it.
Because you don't see most of them told that way. A couple of them that surprised me were Joel Edgerton, who I know mostly from, he played Uncle Owen on the Star Wars 3.
Yeah, he's getting a few more jobs here and there.
He is, and he really surprised me. He really made you hate the character, but also felt sorry for him at the same time.
He was in Warrior, I think.
Yeah, and I missed that one. I've heard that was a good one.
He was great in that. Yeah.
And I didn't even know Isla Fisher was in this movie. She has a minor role.
She should be in every movie.
She should. And she's one of those that did that 20s accent of the 20s, like call girl, flapper girl.
Oh, yeah.
She pulled that off amazingly well, and because she's either South African or Australian.
She's amazing. I don't know what she is. I don't care.
And she pulled off that accent to near perfection. But she had a very minor role. As far as the production, as you know, Baz Luhrmann has that signature for making silly or awkward scenes, using mashups of modern music with whatever time period it's in. Like Romeo and Juliet, he used a lot of modern music because it was set in a modern time.
Because he wants to make it artsy.
Right, wants to make it artsy. I think it worked in movies like Romeo and Juliet because it was a novelty at the time, and that movie, although someone would disagree with me, never really took itself that seriously.
Okay,
you know
I
what I mean?
agree with you. Yeah.
This movie is a serious movie. It's not a joke all the way through. It's taken a literary work and making a film out of it in a very serious manner. So anytime he does that, it feels very distracting.
I can see that.
But it's very much at a minimum compared to his other movies. Where like Romeo and Juliet, the first third of that movie was nothing but that. This is just smaller pieces in that. So I like that it was less frequent than, especially like Moulin Rouge. That's like the whole movie.
And how was it 3D? I'm curious.
The 3D was really pretty. I really did like it, but
it was really pretty.
It was. There was a lot of falling snow, and a lot of, even like when he's in the vehicle, the glass looks like it's right in your face.
So it's a lot
that
of
kind
depth.
Of thing. Very much depth. It's not in your face. Obviously, it's not an action movie, so you don't have things coming at your face.
DiCaprio's just running at the camera. What's up?
But I don't know how much it added to the story. It felt to me more like an animated painting, which was really cool because from an artistic standpoint, it was really good. But I don't know how much it added to the film. I always talk about distractions in this, so. I just really wanted to experience the story. Again, I'm one that experienced it this way for the first time. So I think the biggest thing about this film is that it made me actually want to go back and read the book more than any other movie has.
Okay.
Because I really want to see how that plays out in a dramatic thing. Because I really love the story. I just didn't like how so many things in the film distracted me from it. So. Final verdict, The Great Gatsby has strong performances and is a step in the right direction for Baz Luhrmann, but I'm not convinced that this is the best avenue to experience this work of literature, since it really is bogged down by its length and its attempt to be strictly an artsy movie. So still, it's enjoyable enough to get a 6 out of 10 from me.
Okay.